Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to WASTECON 2013 and tonight, and to the SWANA Ignite presentations. Are you jazzed? Come on. My name is Katie Sando and I'm going to be your MC for the evening. I have the easy job. Please continue to get your drinks and snacks while SWANA had given me a few announcements to go over with you. First, if you are a flag bearer for the opening ceremony tomorrow morning, please plan to meet in room 104A. That's right downstairs, 104A, at 9:30 in the morning. Second, and this is just fabulous, at the end of the Ignite presentations, we will have a cash drawing of $250. So be sure to put your raffle ticket, which you should have received with your registration packets, in the container that's up on the stage, or you can give one of the SWANA staff your ticket as well. So if you want that cash, you better register. And finally, in our work as solid waste professionals, we emphasize safety in all aspects of what we do. Of course, WASTECON is no different. So throughout the conference, you'll hear a few safety tips at each of the sessions you attend, and you'll see safety tips and discussion questions on the tables in some of the sessions as well. And of course, we know that many of you, this is your first time to California, and specifically first time at this convention center. So SWANA wanted me to review with you a couple of safety issues that are actually unique to our location. Number one, if you could look around you to where your nearest exit is. They're lit up with big red signs, so that you'll know where to go in case of an emergency. Second, if you are CPR certified, could you raise your hand and keep it up there for me? Look at all those hands. Okay. Take a look around you, who's at your table, and throughout the conference, memorize those faces. So if somebody needs help, you know who to go to. And finally, everybody gets excited. Finally, if you could be sure to arrive on time at all of your conference sessions so that you can hear the rest of the safety tips. And of course, everyone, please stay SWANA safe. Now, to begin our Ignite presentations, you will see a list of all of our presenters on page 8 of your conference program. However, as often happens, we've had to make a few changes to our lineup. Unfortunately, Stephen Carl and Matt Poor are unable to be with us this evening, but we have added Elena Presley, Elena Banana, and I'll explain later, which is listed on the addendum page. So, without further ado, I'll shut up. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our first Ignite presenter, Allie Bigger. Allie is the environmental engineer with Innovative Waste Consulting Services. Her professional experience and interests include analyzing and developing recycling programs for municipal and institutional facilities, risk analysis at solid waste management facilities, and gas collection and leachate recirculation system design. And this is her first WASTECON, so she is brave, yes. A fun fact about Allie, she's allergic to nuts, and she speaks Mandarin Chinese fluently. Ooh, I lied about that. I did. Allie's presentation this evening is called Aptitude. Allie, are you ready? Go.
We are so dependent on and distracted by technology. All you smartphone users, you're plugged in at this very moment. 25% of Americans won't even go into a bathroom without their phone. Approximately 70 billion apps will be downloaded this year. Surely our industry recognizes our love of apps, but is waste management prepared for a future dominated by app technology? What kind of problems might we encounter if we fall behind the app bubble? Speaking of problems, where are my Candy Crush addicts at? All right, just so you're prepared, all this app talk might make you want to shout, "Clear all jelly!" But please, for my sake, control yourselves tonight. Okay, now that you've been warned, do we all know what apps or applications are? An app is a piece of software, a program that you use on the internet, your computer, your phone, or other electronic devices. And apps aren't just for mobile devices. Okay, now that we all know what apps are, let's talk a little bit about a concept I like to call aptitude. Aptitude means effectively using and developing apps to improve our lives and better serve waste industry customers. Now let's be serious. Not everybody can be an app ninja. But the principles of aptitude are simple. And you can do it, young grasshopper. First off, you must have discipline, my friends. App abuse is rampant. Focus your time and energy on programs that are productive. Avoid Angry Birds. Do not become one of these app offenders, like the lazy bum app dependent, the social media stalker, the app thrill seeker, the excessive downloader, or the emotionally detached dinner table app zombie. The next important phase of aptitude is having an open-minded attitude towards app use and development. I call this state being app happy. Unfortunately, we all know people who I like to describe as candy kids and norms. The candies are interested in apps, but only for entertainment use. And the norms are thick-skulled, set in their ways, and refuse to acknowledge the benefits of app use. These attitudes are not productive. The app happy state lends itself to innovation and thus advancements. Now that you understand the fundamentals of aptitude, what's all this got to do with the future of waste management? My friend Bob and I envision a beautiful portrait of the future for us. But how well is our industry adjusting to the app boom? What's our aptitude status? Okay, I did a little investigating to check out waste industry mobile apps. Unfortunately, there were a few leads. Most of my search yielded results such as NFL trash talk. But I did stumble onto several promising industry-related apps, such as a food waste generation tracker, a variety of waste schedule reminders, a waste news app, and even landfill space and area calculators. Okay, so what other types of apps are out there that we can utilize on the job? Here are a few examples. Waste managers. Are you using lifecycle analysis software in your decision-making process? Have you enrolled your operators in new and interactive e-learning courses to reduce training costs and reduce your carbon footprint? Engineers and operators. Think about tools you can use in the field. Across the globe in Latvia, they have software for individually self-regulated landfill gas collection lines. I've also seen facilities use tablets for electronic field inspections and simple phone apps to measure landfill side slopes. Now let's not forget about waste industry customers. 80% of smartphone users want product information available on the spot while shopping in stores. Is recycling and disposal data available at their fingertips? So how do you think our industry or even your facility measures up on the aptitude scale? Have you used some of these apps before? Are you saving or are you wasting time? How's your app attitude? I know for some of us, the app world may seem overwhelming, but chew on this. 50% of Americans say they can't go 4 hours without using an app. I'd say that's a pretty compelling case for our need to embrace the principles of aptitude. We must learn how to tame and train our apps, not let them control us. We have several solid tools available to the waste community, but it appears that we have the opportunity to do so much more. We are the guardians of the garbage, and we love our unique niche. Mastering aptitude in the next 50 years will be our next big leap. Apply your experience, be creative, be productive, be open to new ideas, and remember to only use Snapchat for good.
Thank you, Allie. Bob and his lovely little landfills thanks you. Our next Ignite presenter is Richard Johnson. Richard is Director and Chief Operating Officer for SLR Consulting out of Canada. He has more than 23 years of experience in design, contract preparation, and procurement and management of a variety of waste infrastructure and construction projects. And Richard tells me that he's Scottish. Therefore, obviously, he likes to put on a skirt from time to time. No, folks, it's just a kilt. So tonight, he's going to explain to us his views about moving on up. Richard, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
I was given 5 minutes to present on a topic I was passionate about, and as I couldn't talk about malt whiskey or skirts, I've chosen instead to offer my thoughts around the challenges that face us as a society in moving on up the waste hierarchy. Now, George Jefferson was not shy at saying what he thought, but when Wheezy told him that their household was to be a zero-waste household, I imagine he would have had a thing or two to say about that, knowing George. I am sure that we'll be hearing a lot about the waste hierarchy over the next few days, and I believe that the real challenge that faces us as a consumer society will be to move from somewhere near the bottom of that pyramid to the very top. When I was choosing a subject to major in at school, a friend of mine said, "Archaeology's trash." So I chose geology. But is archaeology trash, or are we just burying future treasure? Now, garbology is the study of society by its waste. What will future generations make from the study of our waste? That we had an obsession with potato chips? That we had an obsession with plastic bags? That we were wasteful? The global population today stands at 5.8 billion, and by 2025 could reach 8 billion. That's a lot of people, and equates to about 3.2 billion tons of trash over a year. That's a lot of trash. Some say that the average US citizen produces about 102 tons of trash over a lifetime. Author and journalist Edward Humes asked us to think of this in terms of grave plots, 1,100 of them. Is this the legacy that we want to leave behind? One of the biggest challenges we face is the moderation of our consumerism. Western society is built on the need to grow, and growth is driven by consumerism. We would rather buy new than repair old, something my grandfather of 93 years wouldn't want. Cast your minds back. There was a time when going out and getting stuff was necessary for survival. Nowadays, it seems that shopping has developed into a leisure activity, and we are encouraged to think and act that way. We have made great progress, though, in managing our waste, from the days of dumping at sea, to managing well-engineered landfills, to recycling our waste, to reusing stuff, and also, of course, to reducing waste. Now let's look at the sacred pyramid, but this time upside down. We're still focused on the recycling, recovering, and disposing ends of the hierarchy, and what we really need to do is to move our focus to the reuse and reduction end. Reusing is the tipping point of zero waste in that it addresses consumption. Even after I brought my grandfather a new teapot, he insisted on gluing and using his 50-year-old teapot. The road to reuse is rocky, though. Andy Keller developed the reusable Chico bag right here in California's backyard. However, Andy incurred the wrath of the plastic bag industry as the move towards bag reuse was a threat to industry. The good news is that the Golden State currently has 54 bag bans in place. That's approximately 12 million people curbing their single-use bag habit. After the recent LA ban, about a third of the state no longer uses single-use plastic bags, which is great news. Reduction is the key. If we can reduce the amount that we consume, then this will go a long way to helping with our waste issues. EPR is a real opportunity at this time to achieve reduction. Now, Parkinson's law states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. This is the same as tote size. The more waste we get into it, the bigger the tote. B. Johnson considers that the apex of the sacred pyramid should be given over to refusing stuff. That would certainly cut down on the amount of trash that we ultimately throw away. As B would say, just say no, you don't want it. In 2011, we spent $11 billion on 9 billion gallons of bottled water of equal or lesser quality than tap water. Should we not be using reusable containers? I suspect, though, that the bottled water industry may have something to say about that. To move in the right direction on the pyramid, we need to have strong regulatory drivers in place, backed up, of course, by education, education, education. It is through our children that we will be able to curb our seeming desire to accumulate and waste stuff. Steve Jobs said, "The ones who think they are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Think and educate, refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, and then finally waste." Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Our next Ignite presenter is Cecile Carson. Cecile is the Senior Director of Affiliate Development for Keep America Beautiful, where she has been involved with the organization for more than 20 years at the local, state, and national levels. She served as the first Executive Director of Keep Denton, Texas Beautiful, and Director of Affiliate Services for Keep Texas Beautiful. She has more than 19 years of experience in municipal government, including urban planning, economic development, solid waste management, and code enforcement. And Cecile tells me she is Texas through and through. So Cecile, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
Well, as you can see, Keep America Beautiful is in my blood, and our organization is a leading nonprofit dedicated to building vibrant communities. But the reason that I'm here tonight is to talk about I Want to Be Recycled, a new campaign that Keep America Beautiful launched with the Ad Council earlier this summer. We ask a lot of people through focus groups what they thought about recycling, and you probably know the answers. It's confusing, it's inconvenient, I don't know what to do, it's old school, I don't really like it. And so we had to figure out that it's not about us, it's about the others. So as we were just saying, education is one of those key things that we have to look at and try to figure out what's going to motivate the people who aren't in this room, who aren't doing the things that we want them to do. How do we reinvigorate recycling? So we went to the Ad Council and asked them for their help because that 38% that are avid recyclers are not our audience. So was it Mother Earth wants us to recycle? I don't know. Was it, no, recycling's not cool, recycling's cool, so you should do it. Well, instead it was the potential of trash. That was the winner. When we conducted our studies, they said, make that more catchy. It's, I want to be recycled. Frame it in a more impactful and imaginative way. I'm a bottle. I want to be a bench. I'm a can. I want to be a bike. I want to be recycled motivates people to learn more. People really want to think about what that product could be other than what it is. What's its potential? In one of the spots that we have, it features an aluminum can that wants to be part of a stadium. In this case, the Baltimore Ravens M&T Bank Stadium is featured in our commercial. So it's not just about a can to a can, it's about a can to a football stadium. So many of you have been involved, I'm sure, for the last 16 years in America Recycles Day. So we're trying to rethink, how do we organize things that people really will make a difference in doing? We collect a lot of stuff during our events and activity, tons of things from Mardi Gras beads to plastic bottles to aluminum cans. But what's going to inspire those other individuals who want to be recyclers? Last year, we had a lot of events and activities, and quite frankly, the reason I'm not longer at the local or the state level is because I don't like organizing these events and activities. But there were a lot of them that went on, over 1,300 educational events trying to change people's habits and their behaviors, events at colleges and universities, and there were things in weather like this. Oh my gosh, look at that line of people who are sitting there trying to drop their materials off. Lack of access and inconvenience was one of those items. So what's going to make one of those people that's the non-avid recycler actually get out there and do something? Well, one of the things America Recycles Day does is to help in the area of commitment. And last year we re-engineered that campaign pledge to get people to think about what is it that they can recycle and when. So no matter whether you're very young or very old, we can have that slogan, I want to be recycled, and get people to increase and think about how they can do things and make that difference. And think about that piece that will really lead them to where we want to be with our waste. Well, recycling at work was one of those things also that it seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of people said, I still don't know how to do this at my business, at my office. So Keep America Beautiful has launched a program to do just that. And remember that the people who are involved in this program all do it for different reasons. And sometimes we don't know what that is until we involve them in the process and get them to think about it. It may be for their community or it may be for their sanity. And have you done an audit recently? Well, a lot of people did, but then they haven't done it in a really long time, and things have changed. So if it's changed, we probably need to do that again. So that's one of the pieces that we're trying to help with through our affiliate network, to be creative in creating that plan and to think about what it is that can be done. You know, we can get anywhere if we don't know where we're going. So let's set some realistic goals and get people involved in the designing process as well as the implementation process. You never know when you may need to call in the reserves, and convenience to recycling is one of the barriers. The research says that a clearly labeled bin does make a difference, and especially when you put it next to the trash can, so it's easier to figure out which way to go. So from a behavior standpoint, we get the facts, we involve the people, we have a plan, we focus on results, and we provide positive reinforcement, and we probably use some of those apps to track it along the way. And so when it comes to the end, KAB and the Ad Council helped partner in the 1970s to tackle the issue of litter, and we changed people's behaviors. Just think about what we can do in the I Want to Be Recycled campaign to educate and activate people to make a difference.
I just want to remind those of you who have been late arrivals that we are going to be doing at the end of Ignite a drawing for $250 cash. So if you've not done so already, I believe there's a SWANA staff member collecting tickets. Just make sure that you get those too. Our next presenter is Miss Janine Ralph. She is the Senior Environmental Planning Manager for HDR. Janine has more than 19 years of experience providing municipalities across Canada with waste planning services to optimize their waste management systems, while also considering the unique needs of each community. Janine also co-leads HDR's organic practice and is an experienced senior advisor in facility siting and permitting. And I think one of her most valuable assets is that in a zombie apocalypse, she's the one you want to team up with if you want to survive. I'm not quite sure why. You'll have to ask her. But tonight, she's going to describe her zero waste journey from full zero waste to consumer and back again. So Janine, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Go, ma'am.
Well, my story's a little bit personal this evening. My zero waste journey began in 1970 when my hippie parents decided to move from the city to the country as part of the Back to the Land movement. They thought their family would be healthier and happier if we lived off the land and were self-sufficient. So we moved to the middle of backwoods Ontario. My dad built an energy-efficient house with passive solar and a wood stove. Our life was basic. We had a wringer washer, clothesline for drying. There was no television. We raised our own meat, our own eggs. We traded with our neighbors for a side of beef or pork. When a traveling butcher came to the area, and that's how we got our meat, neighbors would call us to come and get the inwards. That's what they called the organ meats that they wouldn't eat. We raised chickens, ducks, geese, and meat rabbits. One of my childhood keepsakes is a little paper book called My Book of Rabbits, illustrating how to treat ear mites and rabbit diseases and build a rabbit hutch, and how to use rabbit fur. We had over an acre of garden. We grew carrots, peas, beans, potatoes, onions, asparagus. We froze them, we preserved them, we pickled them, we put them in cold storage. I never remember buying any vegetables at all when I was a kid. And all of our meals were home cooked. My mom made her own healthy brown bread and her own healthy cookies. What I really wanted was the white bread and Oreos that my friends had in their lunches at school. And most of my clothes were homemade as well, which is why there's no photograph of me wearing some of my beautiful 70s outfits in this presentation. We even made our own sugar. Maple sugar and syrup, first just for us and then as a business. We used to snowshoe into the woods in March to tap the trees. There's just nothing as good as cold maple sap from a bucket from a tree. And once a year, we drove to the town dump because we really didn't have any garbage. If we had a container, we used it as often as we could. Paper went to the wood stove. Plants and food waste went to the compost heap or to the chickens. And I don't remember where sanitary products went. That's the only thing I don't know where it went. But it was a lot of work. It was a full-time job for my mom. It was a part-time job for my dad and us kids. I always had chores. I knew how to milk a goat, cut a tree, skin a rabbit. We didn't go on vacation, but occasionally we went to the lake. And after 12 years of this, my parents' marriage ended. We moved to town. I went to university and became a consumer. There was fast food, junk food, magazines, clothes, occasionally alcohol. But you can't take zero waste entirely out of a girl. My housemates and I were all from rural neighborhoods, so we did a few things right. We did all the cooking. We did our own cooking. We used our curbside blue box. I had lots more clothes, but most of them were from used clothing stores. My first real job when I left university was as the executive director of an environmental organization. It was a great title for very little pay. I ran the first volunteer recycling program in the community where people would bring their own recyclables to a truck on Sundays and load them up by hand. I ran seminars on home composting and gave away olive barrels, and these are some of them. My dad demonstrated why not to put too much blood meal in a composter when he set his on fire. And I was also a young single mom. I did a lot of things that I could. I bought organic food through a food co-op. I bought actually reusable bottles of goat's milk. I used some cloth diapers, but the daycare only used disposables. But I did grow a nice natural meadow for my lawn so I wouldn't have to mow the grass. But then life got busy. I got married. I had my second daughter. My kids had rooms full of toys. We'd get takeout. We got the newspaper. I went from 2 to 4 blue boxes. We got curbside organics pickup, and I kind of stopped home composting. And I still had 1 or 2 bags of garbage a week. And I found it really ironic because my job evolved into municipal waste planning, but I was making more and more waste. I tried my best, even teaching my kids what commercials were so they knew not how to be a consumer. I'm an avid gardener. And even then, I don't compost all my material because my plant's invaded with a lot of invasive plants that I can't compost on site. This summer, I put out between 2 to 25 bags of yard waste every week. I use my green bin every day, very religiously, but there are some materials like this slimy cucumber in its plastic wrapper and that mystery container of stuff you don't want to open that doesn't go in the green bin. I have to say, it sometimes goes in the garbage. I do, when I go shopping, ask myself, do I need this? Which is why I have a 2-legged colander. But some days when I say, do I need this? I say yes, which is why I have too many shoes and too many books. For me, zero waste is really a personal journey. I try my very best, but not everybody has the same background I have, or time, or money, or space. I'm hoping I'll get back to zero someday, but I'm still not quite sure where the sanitary paper products will go.
Thank you, Janine. And our final Ignite presenter this evening is Elena Presley. Elena is Recycling Education Coordinator for the City of Denton, Texas, another Texan, where she is always looking for creative and fun ways to involve her community in diverting waste from the landfill and picking up litter. Since working for the City of Denton, Elena has been involved in creating a variety of programs, including a Trashin' Fashion program, which is actually receiving the Silver Award in Public Education at tomorrow's awards program. In her spare time, Elena likes to play with aquatic bugs, and she's always been known as Elena Banana. So, Miss Elena, are you ready?
I am.
Let's go.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. So my passion is education and passing on knowledge to my community so that they can make their own choices that hopefully lead to positive impacts and behavior change. We, as the professionals, often see the value of trash. The average Joe doesn't see the full life cycle or think of stuff. They don't think about where it comes from. They definitely don't think about where it goes. And in my experience working with the public, waste diversion from landfills is the last thing on their mind. But Ethan Estes from Recology Artist in Residence program in San Francisco exposes our love affair with disposable coffee cups. We are all guilty of the temptations of disposable living. We are all busy and we want to go prepackaged and throw away things because they're convenient. And this leads to a lot of trash. And the integrated waste hierarchy is a great system that many communities have been successful with in their landfill operations and recycling. But now is the time to rethink about our reduction and reuse. With the internet, we can now connect to millions of people who have something that we want and they don't, and vice versa. And this has led to the new age of collaborative consumption and sectors of the green economy which profit from reduction and reuse. eBay estimates that the value of the global secondary market is worth $500 billion. Diverse industries are finding new and innovative ways to do more with less. Reusing things is not a new concept. Historically, it has been common sense. My grandma is the best reuser I know. She reuses everything. And a couple of years ago, when my cousin got married and his new wife came over for dinner, she volunteered to clean the kitchen with me. And I told her where the rags were, and my new cousin-in-law went to get the rags, and she pulled out this bright fuchsia cotton thing that was Grandma's panties cut in half. And I was like, welcome to the family, you know. But you know, not everybody can do that, and there are more acceptable ways for encouraging a reuse economy. And the Reuse Alliance is really good at that. They're leading the reuse, and they're uniting the reuse sector, and they are currently active in 7 states. One of the recognized sectors is the reuse of institutional surplus items, and I personally have found some really cool things online. Like I just recently purchased an old basketball gym floor, and I plan on putting that into my home. Repair is another great way to reduce, and we don't need new electronics all the time. We could repair them, but we don't. And the guys at iFixit.com have established a manifesto. They say repair is efficient, sustainable, saves you money, and teaches you how things work. And I'm also really excited about landfill and transfer station reuse stores. And if you guys have ever been to this one, it's at Texas Disposal Systems in Austin, Texas. But let me tell you about Denton, Texas, where I'm from. We have awesome programs. We have a reuse store for household chemical waste. We actually go curbside, pick it up, and we give it to our residents if it's reusable. And then my next passion is creative reuse. And it's a movement. It's the process of taking things and giving them new life. It's often referred to as upcycling. Creative reuse centers are popping up all over the country and are great hubs for promoting reuse and rethinking how we do things in our community. Scrap is a nonprofit creative reuse center that got its start in Portland, Oregon, and now has several satellites across the nation. Scrap Denton is my city's creative reuse center. It's a craft thrift store, a reuse art boutique, and a gallery, and hosts creative reuse workshops. It's also home to many people in the community. It offers space for reuse artists and a garage for Currency, our nonprofit bicycle group. They also partner with the city of Denton in our education, in our solid waste and recycling department. They go with me into the schools and we teach students how to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And we have claimed orange as the color for reuse. We put orange boxes next to all of the recycle bins. We also partner in our community outreach efforts, and we promote anything that has to do with waste diversion. We look for those people who aren't typically our environmentalists looking to recycle. Our earth has limited resources, and we cannot run a linear manufacturing process forever. Reducing, reusing, and then recycling needs to be common everyday behavior, and we as the professionals in the solid waste industry are in the position to be leaders and are already, in many cases, leaders in the societal changes. Thank you. All right,
right, ladies and gentlemen, I think they need one last round of applause for the great job that they did. Now you all can go get a drink. Maybe a few. Okay, now we're going to do this cash drawing. And I believe I'm told is Mr. David Hornick, our incoming president, in the house. Yes, can I ask you to come up and blame you to draw a name? We have this glamorous gold spinny wheel. And the prize, the cash prize, is actually going to be downstairs at the registration desk with Kathy. So when David draws your name, if you just want to check in with one of the staff members. I feel like we should have a drum roll. It's dying. Come on, David. They're dying.
Here you go.
It's his fault. Jason Evans. Yay, Jason! Thank you, David. Thank you. So I hope you all had a wonderful evening tonight at Ignite, and I hope that you have a great conference, that it's fruitful, it's full of networking opportunities, you learn a lot. And I also look forward to seeing all of you in the opening night reception. I'm going to give you a little bit of instructions about where to go. As you go down the escalators, you're going to exit the convention center through the doors at the far right of the building, near 101A, they tell me. Follow the promenade to Ocean Boulevard and turn right onto Ocean Boulevard. The Performing Arts Center will be right there to your right at the entrance. And if you don't know where you're going, apparently Cecile has already been there. Her GPS originally told her to go there for tonight. So thank you all. Have a great conference.